this chapter here, we're basically learning how light rays behave in lens. There are two main ways they'll ask you in the exam, right? In terms of lens, is let's say, for example, I have a equilibrium here, right? An equilibrium here, and then I say that this is my lens. Then obviously this will be the normal of the lens, which separates it exactly into half. This here will be the optical center. You're supposed to draw 3 cm away, and then this would be your first focal point, and this another 3 cm away would have been your double the focal point. Double the focal length, right? So you should have done this here. In your exam, you're supposed to see that usually if let's say I have an object placed here, you are expected to draw 2 light rays, guys. You're expected to draw 2 light rays, and I mentioned the first light ray should be parallel with your equilibrium position here, right? So you must make sure it is parallel. So you're supposed to have the first light ray that hits the normal, and then straight away this light ray here is going to cut through the focal point immediately already, guys. Then with this here, you're supposed to draw, this is your first light ray. Your second light ray will be starting from the object yet again and cut through the optical center directly here, right? Wherever the 2 lines meet, that is essentially where the image will be formed. From here, this image, you have to name the 3 characteristics of this image, which will either be real, virtual, magnified, diminished, or upright or inverted. Looking at this one here, it seems like it is real because it is formed by all these real light, right? These are real light, guys. And then obviously it is going to be enlarged, right? After that, it is definitely going to be inverted, guys. It's either going to be real, virtual, enlarged, diminished, or it's inverted or upright, right? These are the three main things that we talked about, And if you written down your notes here, you'll see that these are the characteristics, right? You're supposed to mention this one here. So in your exam, if they ask you to draw this one here, very straightforward, just go straight, cut through the focal point, cut through the optical center. That would have been your answer. But in reality, usually your exams they like to ask you the magnifying glass one. The magnifying glass is very, very, very important. If you you don't want to study anything, right? At least you memorize the magnifying glass one, because out of 10 of the past year papers that ask about lens, at least 5 or 6 of them is going to be asking about magnifying glass. So let's say, for example, if this is a magnifying glass, the same thing, you draw your lens, right? You draw your normal. This is your optical center. This is your focal point. Maybe I want to make it larger, the focal point. A bit further, I mean. Focal point and focal point here. Now, like I mentioned, guys, who here can tell me where should I place my object if I want the lens to behave like a magnifying glass? Anyone can tell me where should I place my object? Should my object be placed here, 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 or here? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Let's put it for a vote, shall we? Everyone, can you send me a PM and tell me where should I place my object if I want the lens to behave like a magnifying glass? Some of you say 4. Some of you guys say 2. Everyone put down your vote, then I know who here has been not paying attention. Okay, Junhao here says 2. Come on, the rest of you guys. Scott here says 4. Hannah says 2. Where else? Shermaine says 2. Hey guys, the answer is actually supposed to be 4, bro. Why? What did I mention last week? I said that in order for the lens to behave like a magnifying glass, it must be placed in between the focal point and the optical center. In fact, it is given here as well. Look, this is your magnifying glass. Your object should be placed in between the focal point and the optical center, right? Only when you place the object here can you find this lens behaving like a magnifying glass. So from here, if it is behaving like a magnifying glass, though, if you are asked to draw the light rays, same thing again, right? First light ray will go straight, cut through the normal here, right? Then after that, cut through the focal point here. It looks something like this. Then your second light ray will cut directly straight through. It will cut through your optical center straight away. And you realize at this point that these 2 rays are actually diverging away. And if it is diverging away, it means to say the image will not be here, right? Instead, what you're expected to do is you're supposed to draw one straight line. I mean, straight line in dotted format, right? Use your ruler. Then here also another straight line. Wherever the two light rays meet, guys, this is where the image will be formed. And from here, it will only be real if it is formed by real light. You see these solid lines here? These are real light, right? But if it is formed by all these dotted line here, these are essentially virtual light. And if they are virtual light, then this must be a virtual image, right? That's why the first characteristics is definitely virtual. Will it be enlarged or diminished? Obviously, this is a rhetorical question, right? It wouldn't be much of a magnifying glass if it was diminished, right? So obviously it's going to be enlarged, right? And here, is it upright or inverted? Junhao, is this upright or inverted? Upright, excellent. Because here it was pointing up. Now here it is pointing up. So it's definitely going to be upright. This is essentially all the things you should know for the lens, guys.